I promise you guys that we are a football podcast, but when the NBA has 30 people arrested, including a current player and a current head coach, due to an illegal sports gambling ring, along with illegal underground poker games, we got to talk about the NBA. So, Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, and Terry Rozier, who is on the Miami Heat, have been arrested along with 30 others, including a few mafia members, for a legal sports gambling operation. And I don't really care too much about the legal sports gambling aspect of this because, listen, when you bet on NBA games, there's a very high chance that a lot of these players are rigging the games because it's easier to rig an NBA game than it is to rig an NFL game due to you only having 5 players on the floor at the same time for both teams compared to the NFL where it's 11 guys on the field at the same time. So it's more variables that have to go your way to rigging the NFL game than there are when it comes to the NBA. It's a lot easier to rig a game when you have less players on the floor than what you do on the field watching these NFL contests. And I remember a few months ago when the Dallas Mavericks randomly decided to trade away Luka Dončić to the Lakers. Don't you find it strange how the Lakers got one of the biggest stars in the NBA when they're on the brink of losing LeBron James, the most popular player that the league has ever had, to retirement? How do you keep the Lakers from falling back to irrelevancy pre-LeBron James? Oh, you give them Luka Dončić, and you are sure that they still are going to be in championship contention, and they still are going to be a team that everybody wants to watch. And how do you compensate the Mavericks for forcing them to move on from one of the best players in your league? Oh, you rigged the draft lottery, despite the Mavericks not being one of the worst teams in the NBA, getting into the play-in tournament, having a very small chance of getting that lottery ball that gave them Cooper Flag. Somehow they got that. That's not a conspiracy. That is not a coincidence. If the NBA has players within this league rigging these games and the NBA is launching their own internal investigation and nothing is coming out of it, and then you end up seeing Luka Dončić getting traded to the Lakers out of nowhere, and then the Mavericks getting Cooper Flag in return as collateral for that, this isn't just a player or coach problem that the NBA has. This is an internal problem that the NBA has. Adam Silver launching an investigation into Terry Rozier, not finding any wrongdoing of him, but the FBI being able to uncover a bunch of facts that prove that Terry Rozier was rigging these games, helping people that were betting on his underpoints, his player props, further proves that the NBA is rigged. It's not a player problem. It's not a coaching problem. It starts up front with Adam Silver. And the NBA has been so poorly managed. It's no surprise why the NFL blows the NBA out in ratings every single year. The NBA Finals doesn't do anywhere as near the numbers as what the Super Bowl does, despite basketball being a more global sport. For basketball to be more international than what the NFL is, why is it that a regular smuggler Sunday night football game is drawing in more viewers than what the NBA Finals does? The NBA has been poorly ran, and that's why they have to rig these games. They have to rig the Luka Dončić trade to the Lakers to ensure that one of the most popular teams doesn't end up fading into irrelevancy. They don't go back to being a basement dweller. And they also are allowing their players to bet on themselves, bet on their unders, and then all of a sudden they want to act like nothing happens. And then we act surprised when you have this huge illegal sports gambling operation taking place because the NBA allowed this. When you allow bad habits to occur it's hard to get those bad habits out of your league because you are the one who started those bad habits. And I'm not saying that the NFL doesn't do a little bit of rigging in their own, but the NFL doesn't have to rig certain outcomes. They don't have to rig who they want in the Super Bowl, because whoever plays in the Super Bowl, you got the Cleveland Browns going up against the New York Giants, and everybody is still going to eat it up because the NFL is not a player-driven league. It is a team-driven league. When you are watching the NFL, you're watching it not because of your favorite player necessarily, but more so because you're a fan of that team. If the Ravens were to lose Lamar Jackson, sure, you will have a good amount of people that will follow Lamar Jackson wherever he goes. But if you are a Ravens fan before you got Lamar, losing Lamar still doesn't mean that you won't be a fan of that team anymore. You still are going to root for Lamar wherever he goes, but your affiliation to the Ravens is not going to change. In basketball, that's not the same case. Oftentimes, the ratings are more so attached to the player than it is to the team. And this illegal sports gambling ring that Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier was a part of, along with the Mafia, further proves that the NBA rigged the Luka Dončić trade. They launched their own internal investigation into Terry Rozier, and nothing came out of it. But when the FBI looks into Terry Rozier, they find a bunch of overwhelming evidence. And yet, you want me to believe that the NBA didn't manufacture Luka Dončić getting traded to arguably the biggest brand in their league to ensure that the attention and the ratings that the Lakers get didn't drop when LeBron retires. And in collateral for that, the Mavericks get Cooper Flag in return. I'm not watching the NBA anymore. The NBA has shown me that they can't be trusted. And I can't watch a product that is stealing money from consumers, because that's essentially what the NBA was doing. We bet on these games. So if you are going to advertise sports gambling, you're going to throw all these Hard Rock, FanDuel, and DraftKings commercials at us, try to bribe us to put our hard-earned cash on these games, but allow guys like Terry Rozier, when you launch internal investigations, to be scot-free and not suffer any repercussions, it gives me all the reason in the world to blackball your product and to never watch a single game. And I've betted on a few amount of NBA games, and I would not be betting any more of my hard-earned cash on any more NBA games because I can't trust this league to maintain the integrity of their game. You can say the NFL is rigged, but we've had more open examples of the NBA being rigged, wide and open, than what we've had in the NFL. When you rig a basketball game, especially the way that Terry Rozier was playing a few months ago to make sure that his under hit, then it shows me that I can't trust you because you don't honor the integrity of your game.